At this time, we'll open the formal session of the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners for April 28, 2016, the formal session in room 32 of the courthouse. At this time,
32 of the courthouse. At this time, we'll have a flag salute. Todd, would you lead us in the pledge?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time we have set aside for public comment. This is a 30-minute time period reserved for public comment on any topic other than a quasi-judicial land use matter or other topics scheduled for public hearing. Unless extended or restricted by the chair or majority of the board, the public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person. And Dave Adams from KLYC is here to make a comment. And also thank you, Dave, for making the live streaming and videotaping and archiving of these sessions available to us.
Dave Adams, KLYC Radio.
Dave Adams, KLYC Radio. Station's address is 1100 Northeast Lafayette Avenue in McMinnville. There's a number of projects that we're working on. One of the things I want to talk about right now, which will happen probably sooner than the others, is bringing the Wall of Honor to McMinnville and hopefully Newburgh. This is a wall with the names, pictures of 5,000 men and women who have lost their lives in combat since 9/11, principally Iraq and Afghanistan. A group called Vets Helping Vets HQ that I've worked with for about 5 years maintains the wall. It's based in Albany, and again, we want to bring it to McMinnville and Newburgh. Big thank you to Post 21 Legion here in McMinnville, raising probably most of the money to bring it here. It'll be here for 5 days at Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum. And then we're also planning on taking it to Newburgh when we raise the $3,000 needed to take it there. We're promoting this with the radio station. All of the money goes to Vets Helping Vets. None of the money goes to KLYC. We've also started 4 other internet radio stations. One is called Operation Eagle's Wings, which is principally designed for veterans to promote, to encourage, and to tell the story of what's going on with veterans, and there's a number of issues that we're concerned about, and we just want to let them know that we care, we appreciate their sacrifice and what they've done for our country, and so we've started a radio station specifically to honor them and to tell their story. I think we don't have a date yet, but we're close to bringing it to McMinnville.
So there is no date at this point to have it at the museum, but you'll get back to us with the date?
Correct. And Evergreen is allowing us to put it there free of charge. Of course, you probably have to pay admission to get into the museum, but we're not having to pay to put it there for 5 days. And we'll let you know when the date is, both in McMinnville and Newburgh. We'd like to do them concurrently, but because of fundraising challenges, we may have to bring it back to Newburgh.
Thank you, Dave. Make sure you let Jerry Wilson, our Veteran Services Officer, know so he can spread the word from his office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next on to the consent agenda, item B. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of the consent agenda.
A motion to approve consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. On to item C, old business. And we have the consideration of the adoption of written findings and conditions upholding the planning director's approval of planning docket L-47-15. The applicant is Michael Hintermeyer, and denying an appeal by the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development as tentatively approved on April 14, 2016. Mr. Sadlow?
And Madam Chair, I just wanted to say that you have the board order and the findings and conditions in your folder. I did make one change since then, and that was to the 7th condition that stated that the applicant had a year to complete the requirements of the conditions, and I added the words "unless an extension is granted" to that clause. And that's the only change that was made in the draft that you received.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the written decision, findings, and conditions prepared by staff to approve planning docket L-4715, applicant Michael Hintermeyer.
We have a motion to approve item C1, the consideration of the adoption of written findings and conditions upholding the planning Director's approval of planning docket L4715. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Down to items D through 1 through 5. Under other business, item D1, the consideration of approval of governmental money purchase plan and trust adoption agreement plan number 108360. And this has to do with, this is an account, a plan provided by the county for elected officials, those of us who have chosen to waive our participation in PERS. And the other one is for item D2. Well, we'll just vote on this one separately.
And Madam Chair, this is our ICMA Retirement Corporation plan that we need to renew.
Okay. So that's seeking board approval for the county administrator to sign the agreements. So do we want to do item D1 and D2 separately?
Yes, please.
Okay, so item D1 would be the approval of agreement plan 108360, which is one of those plans for elected officials who
Which
don't
one
do
is this
PERS.
one?
This is the, this is the plan that allows elected officials to make, who choose to waive their participation in PERS and make their retirement contribution into this plan.
And that's
ICMA.
okay. This one is ICMA.
They both are actually.
Oh,
This one is the ICMA plan for elected officials that choose to waive their PERS
okay,
rights.
all right.
So that's item D1. Do we have a motion to approve item D1?
Madam Chair, I would move we approve.
We have a motion to approve item D1. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of item D1 say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Item D2 is the consideration of approval of governmental money purchase plan and trust adoption agreement number 106530, and this is, the ICMA Retirement Corporation to administer 2 401k retirement plans for the county.
And Madam Chair, this plan is for county employees that were employed by the county prior to the county's move to become a PERS-covered employer.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve item D2?
Yeah, I'd move approval of D2.
We have a motion to approve item D2. Any further discussion? All those of approval of item D2 say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Item D3, the consideration of approval of the following appointments and reappointments to the Yamhill County Transit Authority Transit Advisory Committee, YCTA, with terms as follows. A, Larry Pritchett, February 28, 2018. Larry Layton, February 28, 2018. Paula Terp, February 28, 2017. Chris Mercier, February 28, 2017. Tim Weaver, February 28, 2019. Deborah Bernard, February 28, 2017. Scott Pingle, February 28, 2018. Paula Neckes, February 28, 2018. Scott Essen, February 28, 2019. Larry Yoder, February 28, 2017. And Andrew L. Dean, February 28, 2019. Do we have a motion to approve item D3?
Madam Chair, I would move approval of item D3, and all of these people have indicated their desire to serve on this committee, and so I'd move approval.
All right, we have a motion to approve item D3. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor of approval of item D3 say aye. Aye. Passes unanimously. Item D4, the consideration of authorizing Silas, Heller, and Steiner on behalf of Yamhill County HHS to apply for funding for technical assistance on peer-delivered services for individuals with substance abuse disorders through the Oregon Health Authority Health Services Division. And basically, this is a grant. It's pretty much passed through in that it will go directly to those peer-delivered services. So do we have a motion to approve item D4? I move approval of item D4. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of item D4 say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. On to item D5, which is regarding a competitive notice of intent to award a contract in the amount of $36,685, and this is for demolition at the Public Works
I don't have a D5 on.
This is a
It's
last
the
minute.
last minute.
Right.
Okay.
I
I'll give you
apologize.
that.
Okay.
I
Do you want to
apologize.
take
for a
that?
moment.
Stan, do you want to bring us up to
I've-
speed on that?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is the contract to demolish the existing Public Works building to begin the process of reconstruction. This is awarded to, this is an intent to award. There are still just a couple of things that kind of council wants to clarify, but it will be brought next week for final awarding of this contract. So I move approval of the intent to award.
We have a motion to approve item D5. Any further discussion?
I've seen the competitive bids. This is a great one. It meets all the criteria. Pleased with that.
It's a
Yeah.
bargain.
Well, yeah, and I know Christian has some questions, and hope we can get to the bottom of that, and it'll be great.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a 1-week protest period, and after that, we'll bring the contract back, I expect, as early as next week for your consideration.
Very good.
We have a
Thank you.
motion to approve item D5. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Public hearings, we have none. Announcements. For information on county advisory committee vacancies, please refer to the website or call the Commissioner's office at 434-7501. Or for questions regarding accessibility or accommodation, please contact the Board of Commissioners office.
Madam Chair, excuse me, and we had originally noticed that we were going to have an executive session at the end of today's session, and we no longer have that plans to have that executive session. We've had to delay that.
Okay, no executive session, so, all right, well, anything for the good of the order?
Had a very good meeting with the Marion County Board of Commissioners yesterday concerning getting their involvement in pursuing additional funding for the bypass continuation. They're quite concerned about traffic that may end up in Marion County, so it's got their attention. So they are going to be partners with us in the process of putting some pressure on ODOT to give us money so we can at least purchase the right-of-way. But at least we do have more jurisdictions getting on the bandwagon, and that can't do anything but help us.
Okay, great, good to hear.
Had
All
a,
right.
had a good meeting with the new owners of CEC, and they had called and were talking about jobs that they need. They're expanding, continuing to expand. So when they first came, they were around 16 people. They went up to 22. Now they're here in the area. They're at 35 and looking for 7 more. And so we had a nice little field trip up to see Trevor at YC and introduced him to that program. And out of that, and the interest that CEC has in these young kids and bringing on apprentice to come out, when they come out of school, some training, they're going to have a field trip with the students down to CEC to see the operation and have some hands-on experience with what that company's about. And it was just exciting stuff to see the kids excited about it, well-trained kids, well-mannered, well-equipped kids getting plugged into a company that needs help. And it's not going to take care of all their help. They do need journeymen also, and I'm in the process of talking to some of my contacts in that arena and working on that component. But the kids are excited about it, and it's going to turn into a great learning field trip. And so that's exciting stuff. Bringing family wage jobs to the West Valley, important stuff.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank CEC and Trevor for cooperating and working this thing out.
Good program out there.
Yeah.
And just on, speaking of ODOT, along with the Association of Oregon Counties, AAA, law enforcement, have put together a distracted driving task force statewide because, as you know, we've had a number of really serious accidents in our county that there might be some concern that there was distracted driving involved. So I'm going to be the county representative on this distracted driving task force to the degree that we can bring awareness to this problem, because they say 75% of drivers have admitted to either texting or talking on their phones when they probably didn't have the correct hands-free devices, or otherwise being distracted. And I think it's just an awareness thing. So if you have any ideas, send them my way. All right. If there's nothing else, we'll close the formal session of the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners for April 28th, and it is 10:15. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Well done.
Lots of additional.